Hey guys, first and foremost, I want to make this video as long as possible because I'm going to talk about a subject that I don't really talk about on my channel. My channel is just basically strictly comedy skits, you know, funny advertisements, and things of that nature. But today, I just want to go deeper because I have been getting a lot of messages from people who want to know me personally. Aside from my YouTube channel and my comedy skits and what I do normally do on my channel, people want to get to know me. So first and foremost, I want to formally introduce myself. You know me as Pink Cup Boy, but my real name is Tyreek. Or a lot of people call me Ty, whichever you want to say. It doesn't really matter to me. I answer to both. Or three. Pink Cup Boy, Tyreek, and Ty. So whatever you want to call me, you can call me either or. Um, I am 26 years old and I am born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, up until the age of 13. That's when I moved out. It was the best decision I've ever made in my life, and I'll get into that in a moment. But I just want to say that out of all the trials and tribulations I've been through in my life, I never let that get to me. You know what I'm saying? I never let that hold me down. I never let that dictate who I am as a person. And, living in Philadelphia was the most horrible experience I have ever been through in my life. It was humiliating, embarrassing, violent. Um, I was a very, very sad individual living there. I was never happy. Uh, I knew that I had to get out of there. My family had to get out of there for us to live a better life. And Philadelphia is a great place to visit. It's a horrible place to live in. And parents should not raise their kids in that type of condition. And I'm not talking about all of Philadelphia, as I'm sure there's some nice parts like Center City and things like that. But for the most part, in the urban areas, especially the ghetto, I would never ever raise my kids in a dump like that. I can really call it a dump. It's not. It's a ghetto dump is what it is. It's a horrible. It's a dead end. You know, People who live out there are very arrogant, very ignorant, some are uneducated, some a lot of people do not have goals out there. When I was living in Philadelphia, I used to go to the public schools, very ghetto, very trashy. Um, I never really fit in, first and foremost, because I was a fat, I will say. I was never really a small child. I was small up until the age of 12. After that is history. But I never really fit in. I was too shy, too sensitive, and you put shy and sensitive together, most times you get gay. And I will say that I was never really in the closet. I was flamboyant, like I was flamboyant to an extent. Like I wasn't outright, hey girl, how you doing, honey? This is how I roll, and this is no, I wasn't like that. But you can tell I was not the ideal masculine person because I didn't deal with in sports. I didn't deal in what guys were talking about at that particular moment, rather it be rap music or having sex with females and things of that nature. I was never really in that group. So people just automatically assumed that, I was effeminate, gay. So that right there was the first red flag. On top of that, I was, heavy set. And So that just made me an easy target because I was shy and sensitive and I didn't really talk to anybody. I wasn't really, outgoing. I was sort of an introvert, but if I got to know you, I would socialize with you. We can be friends and stuff. But I didn't really want to be friends with any of those people out there because that just wasn't my social group thing. I couldn't relate to any of them. You know what I'm saying? They were very, very violent, very, bitch, I ain't doing that, cussing out teachers and being disrespectful. That wasn't me. I was always raised in a household where I was always to be respectful. I was always to address my mom as if she was of the highest regard. You know what I'm saying? I was always taught to be respectful to my elders, respectful to anyone, and follow rules and regulations in the household. So I was always the type of person to do just that. So, when I was pushed into that school, it was very, very uncomfortable for me. I got into a lot of fights in that school because of my situation. Me not being able to communicate with these people. I was picked on a lot. I was always humiliated. Um, you know, at that time, I didn't really grasp on the fact that I was a homosexual. But there were like if I look at it now, there were certain things that they did that now I would be like, yeah, that's gay. But at that time, I wasn't really thinking about that. So, I just thought it was just what people did. But, I was, I wouldn't want to say sexually harassed because that's such a strong allegation. But I would definitely say that, you know, they were flirtatious. You know what I'm saying? Like in front of their boys, they would act all tough, masculine, all macho and shit. Oh, this nigga ain't shit. Blah, 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 blah. I'll fuck him up and boom, boom, boom. You know how people are. That group. But onto the side, they were like it was like advances. You know what I'm saying? They would touch me in spots that normally you wouldn't touch nobody. You know what I'm saying? Um, they would make comments, say, "Hey, I heard that you boom boom bam." So I was thinking boom boom bam. You know what I'm saying? That kind of events. Either verbal or touchy feely. Like, but I would always get into fights with dudes who just thought that I was very soft, very uh silent because like I said, I never really socialized with any of those people. So they just saw me as a weak person. So they would pick on me, and I got into a lot of fights. Now, don't get me wrong, bitch held his own, okay? Self defense like a motherfucker. But I never initiated fights. I was always defending myself. Yeah, excuse me, and I was always being suspended, which I don't think I should have been suspended because a bitch was defending himself. I didn't initiate shit, okay? But I always fought in that school, and the bitch got down. You know what I'm saying? Bitch was bad. You know what I'm saying? How you're natural with your hands. You're natural. Like, I don't know if it runs in the African American community, but we know how to fight. You know what I'm saying? It just comes natural to us. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying any other race can't throw down when they need to throw down. I'm just saying to black people, it seems to come easier or more natural for us. I don't know if that's because, of our horrible times in the back days. We had to learn to, fight for everything, and stuff like that. But it came natural for me. And we can throw down, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's like me hold my hands up like I'm some sort of gangster. Yeah, girl, don't mess with the hands, okay? Because, honey, I will give it to you, Miss Girl. Okay, and don't get me wrong, I am non-violent. You know what I'm saying? I would rather talk it out. I never was a violent person. The only time I fought is when I had to defend myself. So it was either, like on more than one occasion, I even fought girls. And excuse me, at that time, it was very. Let me light a cigarette, girl. At that time, it was very acceptable to fight females because females were just looked at as equally as men. Like if they want to get sassy and fight. I mean, girls for dudes and dudes for girls. I mean, it was never really looked at as, oh my god, I can't believe he hit a girl. I was in a time where that was acceptable. You know what I'm saying? So I even fought a couple girls. Got scratched all up in the face, but a bitch had to help hold his own. Like if you hit me, I'm gonna hit you. That's just, I mean, I'm not gonna, be like, oh, you shouldn't have did. And no, I'm punching you back. You know what I'm saying? And then we got to get down with the nitty gritty. We gonna get down with the nitty gritty. Either I whoop your ass or you whoop my ass. Just know that I'm gonna be bringing the heat. Okay, but I got into a lot of fights in middle school. So after I graduated from middle school. I don't like to say graduate because graduate from middle school is like, what? It's middle school. So I would like to say, upgraded. Since I upgraded, we had a little graduation ceremony, whatever. But I also want to say that in that time it was very, very they were homophobic, but it was very homoerotic in the middle school because these kids, and you know how kids when they 13, 14, they're homos or ragers. So they really still trying to figure out who they are. But it was very, very homoerotic. Like if I look at it now, it was very, very homoerotic. Like, like I wasn't sexually active, but a lot of them were. And in that time it was very sexual. Like I just can't it was really new to me, but at the time it was very homoerotic. And it was even this one instance. Let me light this cigarette for this, because honey, I'm gonna need to. It was this one instance, you know, his name was Maurice. I specifically remember his name because the situation was, it was dire. It was really, really, it was really, really out there. So I remember his name like it was yesterday. Maurice, honey. I don't remember his last name, but his first name was definitely Maurice. So, you know, it was just one instance. Now, I usually walk alone. When I was in that school, I usually walked alone. I didn't really have any friends, like I said. So it's this one time he was like, I just live up the block from you, so why don't we just walk home together? I was like, okay, sure, whatever. We're conversing, having a little tea time, whatever, walking home, we talking about different subjects. So I'm going closer and closer to my ghetto house and in the ghetto hood, and out of nowhere, he says, and I'm gonna be blunt, because he was very blunt. He didn't sugarcoat it or nothing. He was very blunt. So I'm gonna just say it. He said, "Let's go to my house so we can fuck." I'm looking at him like, what? Like, what? What? He was like, "Let's go to our house. Let's go to my house so we can fuck." I'm like, and at that time, I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't sexually active, but that just shocks me. I'm like, I formally declined his invitation. I said, I have to get home. My mother is expecting me. Okay. And I went home. Now, mind you, he wasn't ugly. He wasn't that bad looking, but at the time, like I said, I wasn't sexually active. Now, if I was then, as I'm sexually active now, I probably would have went to his house. You know what I'm saying? I probably would have did that. But like I said, I wasn't like that. So I was like, no. And at that time, I was still confused. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't sure if I wanted females or I wanted dudes. You know what I'm saying? But it was not like I was disgusted. It was really, I was shocked. Like it came out of nowhere. I didn't know what to say. I formally declined it. I said, "Oh no, I gotta go home, honey. My mom is suspecting me." But yes, middle school was very homoerotic. Like, so when I finally got a chance to get out there, no, this is how it went. I graduated one night from the middle school. Like I said, I don't even like to use that word, but I'm gonna use that because I can't think of any other thing. I was gonna go to the most ghetto high school there was to ever be built in Philadelphia. And my mom, being the lovely person she is, I love her to death, she very nonchalantly said, Oh no, my baby is not going to that ghetto, trashy ass school with those sexually active hood rats in that motherfucking school. That's exactly what she said. And I cracked the hell up. And I was like, "Ma, I really don't want to go to that school, sweetheart, because it's horrible. I've seen what these kids do. I've seen who they are. And I'm not that type of person. We got to get the hell up out of here, okay?" So she packed her bags, we packed our bags, and we left. You know, we were and when we left, we didn't have any plans to leave. So we couldn't properly plan on moving into a new house. So we were homeless for, a short amount of time. We traveled from Philadelphia to Norristown, and from Norristown we traveled to Pottstown, where I am now, and we got our place. But soon my mom signed me up into this. It wasn't all white, but it was majority white school at the time. I felt so out of place. Like, I'm just looking at all these white people, and I'm like, oh my God, where am I? Why am I here? And these white people were just staring at me. They was like, fresh meat, and I was a black boy. So, I mean, it was nowhere near what I was accustomed to there in Philadelphia. They were very, very nice, very, very sweet. They talked to me, and when I went to that school, I had my guard up. You know what I'm saying? Because I was always, like I said, I was always fighting. I was always, being teased and stuff in the middle school. So automatically, I had my guard up. So I didn't know what to expect, but I had my guard up just in case something was to go down, pop off. I'd be ready. You know what I'm saying? But after like a week or so, my wall gradually, you know, fell down, and I really started to open up to these people, and it was the best decision my mom made for our family to move the fuck out of Philadelphia, because Philadelphia is the motherfucking pits, and I would never advise no parents to raise their kids. It is a horrible place. People who live there should move. It is a dead end. It was the best decision I've ever made in my life. And as a result, I got a better education, uh, um, you know, good jobs, you know what I'm saying? And just an overall better life. I have a lot of friends who I love dearly. And if I was still living in Philadelphia, I wouldn't have any friends, because like I said, I could not communicate and socialize with those type of people. That's just not who I was. Even though I was living there, that's not who I was. So right now we're at 17 minutes. So yes, yes, yes. This video is pretty long, honey. So yes, I'm gonna try to wrap it up quickly. But you know, and another thing. I think that homosexuality runs in families, because there are a couple people in my family who are homosexual. I'm homosexual. My sister is gay. You know what I'm saying? And my sister is currently single, and she wants me to tell you guys that she's single. So, any lovely lady out there who would want to talk to her, please contact me, and I will forward you her email address or whatever she uses and whatnot. But she just wanted me to tell you that. Yeah, she's a very pretty girl, and yes. So anyways, yes, it's myself, my sister, two of my cousins I know for a fact are gay. Um, I think one of my uncles are gay. Um, and rumor has it, now I'm not saying this is fact, but rumor has it that my father is gay. Now, I heard this rumor, I don't know for a fact. I heard this rumor from another family member. I won't say who it is. But yes, rumor has it that my father is gay. I don't know my father. My father was never there for me. I could care fucking less, because my mom was my mother and my father, honey. And But if he is, then girl, I don't know. I think the homosexuality gene is there. It's out there somewhere. It got to be a gene, honey. Because I think it was in families. Because I've talked to many people. They say, oh, they have a lot of gay people in their family, and I'm like, it got to be a family thing. You know what I'm saying? But yes, I just want to say that I really appreciate you guys for supporting, continue to support me. Um, you know, I just wanted to give y'all a little background of who I am, where I'm from, and you know, just give you an inside look of my life. So yeah, that about does it. Anyways, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And thank you for watching. Did I say that? Yeah, I did say that. I did say that already. Ooh, girl. Anyways, mwah, pow.